Aloysius McGowan III. What's up?
Correct.
How you doing, sir?
Correct. Good to see you again.
It's good to see you again, man. I heard you guys slayed last night in Bloomsburg. Is that where you are right now?
No, yes, yeah, that is true. We slayed. There was a lot of slaying, and I don't mean in the Santa Claus fashion.
Right,
Uh,
right.
yeah. So yeah, we had a tremendous night in Bloomsburg. That's when you see a grandstand jammed like that, and and the entire field, and people threw themselves into it with complete abandon. It was just another one of these great nights. So no, we're now in Connecticut,
Ah,
and yeah, that's where we're playing tonight.
nice. Excellent. Yeah, I have a lot of friends that were posting on Facebook and we had contest winners and all kinds of stuff, so it was great.
Right on.
It seemed like a very joyous night. People were very pleased.
That's good
So,
to hear.
we're here to talk about Circling from Above,
Yes.
which is the newest release by the great and legendary Styx.
Yeah.
So this is the 18th overall album for Styx and your fifth with the band, correct?
Right. My fifth of the studio albums. Yes, not counting the live records and the live DVDs,
Right,
etc. Yeah.
right, right.
So it's number five.
So what could you say would be, first and foremost, was there any kind of difference in approach to this one as opposed to the previous four?
I think a little bit, Chris, in that the I guess the confidence factor, I hate to put it that way, but it's kind of what it is. After the mission and the success of Crash of the Crown, we had kind of carved out a quite a confident writing uh, s- team, if you want to call it that, between Tommy Shaw, Willie Vankovich, and myself. And Will, as a producer, there was no more. There's no. He was left to do the second guessing to himself because we really had the confidence that he had all the wherewithal to really produce the record, to its highest degree. So in that, there was a sense that basically let's try and say something that's got some level of interest and you know dare we say maybe we'll even wade a little bit into the profound. I can get away with a word like that here on the proctologist.
Yes, you can. I am the proctologist, so yes, you can get away
You
with big words here. That's a thing.
That's part of why I like talking to you so much is that you're a proctologist by practice and
I used to always say to people because whenever I would tell
yeah.
especially with metal bands, they would do this. I would say, "Yeah, it's the proctologist, proctologist." They're like, "Proctologist." They're like, "Don't you like examine assholes?" And I'm like, "Only if you happen to be one." So, so yeah, so that's pretty funny that you were
Yes,
that's
yes,
prevailed.
yes.
So
The G is all important.
that's
Yes.
right. The G is super important. It's silent sometimes, but it's there. It's
All
there.
right. Yep.
So let's kick this off. So this album is a concept album, right? It's a loose concept, or is it like a linear story?
So here's the best way I can answer that. We without the intention of making a concept record. I mean, the mission, we went into that with the full intention of making it a concept record that had a pretty much linear storyline.
Hmm.
The Crash of the Crown was not, but people definitely see a concept there. And certainly from above, it is in that it's a cohesive collection of songs. That's the best description I can give you of it. It's just like, when Brian Wilson left the planet and left us behind all that great music. I saw a lot of online debate about Pet Sounds.
Hmm.
And that was, I think, that was the phrase that came up. It's not that it's a concept record. It's that it's such a cohesive collection of songs that you can't help but apply something of a narrative or something of a concept to it. And I began to realize, oh yeah, I remember, because I always go back to the Beatle records, and I remember even John Lennon saying, "There's no concept to Sergeant Pepper," but in
Right.
my mind, my 10-year-old, 11-year-old mind at the time when it came out, I immediately thought, no, no, this is all conceptually connected. I
Right.
didn't know
Right.
I didn't know the word conceptually back then when I was, but I thought it was a story.
Right,
being told
right, right.
by these four magical people. And so I see circling from above as people who are entirely entitled to, and I would even encourage it that if you listen to the whole album and feel like there's a philosophical bend to this, or a general um, a general pulling of a mindset that follows a certain path,
Sure,
I'd highly encourage that. But really, when we're writing and recording the songs, we're looking for what connects this song to this song. Where's the logic in why this would follow? Why is suddenly, for example, everybody raise a glass? Why would that open up side two following a song like Forgive? You know, and part of that's the balance, the yin and yang that you're trying to strike as well on
sure,
a record
sure.
where you go too far in one direction or you go just to the depth that you want it to go, you can then veer off into something that counterbalances it. So in that you could begin to kind of stitch together a story.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like I've referenced them many times with you before, and I reference most things in my life by using Rush. I
Yeah.
remember reading an article about Neil Peart and his approach to writing lyrics, and until Clockwork Angels, they never really wrote a true concept album in the sense of from
Right,
start to finish, this is the story, right?
right.
2112 is always referenced as a concept record, but it's only the one song that's really telling the story. And then side
Yeah,
B is just a collection of songs. But
that's
Neil
right.
Peart always said, like, if you ever notice, like, every Rush album has a different color scheme. Every Rush album has a different lyrical bend to it, where it's either hope or decisions or strife or whatever it is. So yeah, I can totally see the collection of songs thing at play here for sure with this album.
That, that's
So
right. I just to pick up on your point
sure, sure.
a little bit there is that Neil Peart and Hugh Syme, who did the album covers, they would collaborate a lot on the conceptual nature of it. I mean, ultimately, it's Hugh's artwork, but it would be, as you were referencing, a certain palette that they're trying to convey. And I'd say that we or Styx or Styx or Genesis or Yes or any of the band of the prog era are usually trying to somehow cull together the overall spirit of a record onto that album cover because that piece of art is part of the entertainment, and that's why a 12 by 12 is easier to kind of take in all the little nuances that are there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I cut you off. Please continue.
No, 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 you did not. Actually, you led me right to where I wanted to go. So we're talking about album covers. And
Yeah,
this album cover, as you've alluded to, which the video for Build and Destroy is
yeah.
AI created.
No one believed we could conceive this Goliath of dreams that came true. Now here we are, back with the stars.
And you reference, I don't know about the album cover, but I know the video is AI created, correct? And the song Build and Destroy references AI, but I don't know to what degree. I haven't really gone in depth on the lyrics, to be honest with you. So what I guess my first question is, did you use an AI video to is this a negative thing towards AI, or is this kind of like a, hey, this is what it is, we accept it and let's go on?
I'm gonna sound almost like a politician here, but it's both positive and negative. Because first of all, it wasn't AI was used to make that video, but it wasn't created by AI.
Gotcha.
That's an important distinction that I
Sure.
have to put in here because Jay Zebarth, who did the video, he uses all kinds. I mean, as he did the video for Forgive, on that one he's an animator. By that's his main thing. So he works with animation, but he also in the past with us he's worked with stock footage that he's manipulated in various ways to make it carry through, like in on Crash of the Crown. Basically, AI is it's a new kind of color, so to speak, in his toolbox of things to express himself. So it wasn't just like, here, we'll input this song and let AI make up a storyline. No, we went at it with, and he and I would be most culpable because I would say to him, let's this is a fight between man's technological advancements and nature.
Hmm.
Okay, and we both know that ultimately, everyone knows that nature ultimately wins this battle that we're in. You know, to
Yeah.
try to make our lives more convenient or more comfortable, or basically more, in some ways, more meaningful. Believe it or not, I guess, in with our technological advancements, and yet nature always pushes back. And the album cover exudes that. And what so the very first prompt, I guess you call it, because I don't work with it myself, but I said, have let's start working on the star using the album cover as our paradigm. That's what has to happen. The birds have to destroy that satellite
Yep.
dish.
Yep.
Okay, that has to be seen to understand that man has come up with this great achievement to communicate with the entire planet. But a really determined flock of birds can cut that off at the knees and bring it down to size where it's useless. Okay. So so AI was employed in that. Now, I would say that without the human interaction with the AI, it's cold and flat. I just spoke about this in the last few days. For example, and I brought this up to Jay when we were doing the video. The AI Beatles, for example, that came out a couple of years ago. I keep referencing them because I that's everything goes back to
Just
that.
like I reference Rush all the time. It's the same
That's
thing.
right. So it goes back to that, and eventually there'll be an AI rush if there isn't already, for example.
I hope
Okay.
not.
Well, there will. It's inevitable. It'll happen, and you'll be profoundly disappointed in what it comes out with.
Yes,
And
I
I,
will.
I mean, like, in fact, you'll probably, like myself, I'm going to guess that when I heard the AI Beatles, it's very weird what our brains do when an AI is involved. At least my own brain, I can speak for, I suppose. It's at first I went, that really does sound like John, and he's the tone of Paul is there and George, and stylistically they're trying for it, and it's colossally failing
Yeah.
because it has no emotional connection to
Which is
it.
something they've never done, right? They've never failed.
They can't.
Right.
Yeah, right. The Beatles, you mean the actual
Right.
one?
Right. The Beatles have never failed. Like
Beatles
as a group,
never failed.
they've never
They,
failed. You
they
can say
always,
what you want about their solo stuff, but
yeah, but they always exuded or extracted that human response where I always describe it as the shiver goes up your spine and you suddenly feel connected to this piece of music
yes.
in a very intimate way. The connection with the AI Beatles to me started off neutral, and then it just did nothing but recede into the distance of, like, that's just not what I
Yeah,
what it
no, it's true. It's true. The AI
so
thing, I agree with you. The AI thing, like it's the way I always talk about video games, honestly. No matter how realistic they get a video game to look, sound,
right.
and feel, ultimately those eyes are dead, man. Those eyes are dead.
That's
There's
it.
no life there, and that's where all the color comes from in a human face is in the eyes. That's,
I I'm gonna I have to use that. That's a tremendous analogy. For example, you can watch a movie and see someone die violently.
hmm
Can evoke a shocking and emotional response from you. Okay, like you could cry, you could be disgusted, etc., etc. I don't play video games, but I mean, if I'm watching what's a really violent one, like say Halo or something like that,
Yeah, or
or
like Red Dead Redemption, or
okay,
any of
great.
them, Call of
You,
Duty.
you you know that world. That's good. Um, I've never once looked at it and gone, I've looked at it and gone, wow, that's impressive how they did that. I had no response to it whatsoever,
Yeah, yeah,
as emotionally speaking, other than to go, that was pretty good.
yeah.
Like,
Well, exactly,
I mean,
exactly.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed that they could pull that off, and that's how I feel with AI. And I will say this, AI is it's another one of these inventions. This is how I feel right now. This is, we're talking today. I could
Sure.
shift this perspective could shift
September
terribly.
28th, yes. Or September 27th, yeah.
Months from now,
2025.
I could be taking, yes, 6 months from now, I could be taking completely different. There's no telling. I'm going to kind of use a David Bowie approach here when he was asked about the internet. There's no telling how what this is going to unleash. There really isn't. Just like, I try to lighten the discussion a little bit by saying just over 100 years ago when movies came out, there was an outcry that this is the end of live theater. This is absolutely an abomination to and here we are 100 years later, and live theater is still doing fine. And
Yeah, it sure is.
you know what I mean? And every every invention that comes along, and this speaks exactly to build and destroy, and this is really the incentive behind it. Every invention that comes along, it contains within it the potential for great good. AI could get us out of this, pollution mess. I mean,
Sure.
the mind, it will make, it already has helped with medical advancements that are doing astounding things that we couldn't have done had we not invented that thing.
Right.
At the same time, we know it could also be the end of us. So
Yes.
that those two things are right there. And I think it goes all the way back to you know, I said that this might be too trite, but I mean, I bet you when the first guy invented a wheel,
Right.
someone said, "Whoa, that's amazing. We can really move with that." And then it was probably made out of stone and it crushed about five people because he made it too big and they were just looking at it come at them. And
Right.
no, this is going to end
Absolutely.
civilization as we know it. And AI is a million times more threatening than that, and I
Sure.
understand that. But there are ways, if a human interacts with it, there are ways that I think it is going to, I'll predict here, it is going to do unbelievably positive things and possibly the greatest threat ever posed.
And I think with all things that is true. I think referencing the wheel isn't like a myopic way of looking at it. It's very on par. It just explains how the further we get, the more advanced we get and the more dangerous these things get. I mean, it's just,
And
and
that's so you said you haven't had a chance to really go into build and destroy. That's what the song is about. Is that all our best intentions, whatever we build, we either destroy it ourselves or there's destruction involved in it,
yep,
And again, pitting nature against our own human nature
right.
uh, is a duel that will hopefully go on for a long, long time to come, but you never know.
It's funny to me that it brings up an interesting point. It's funny to me that I don't ever hear Styx often referenced as lyrically deep. Um, I don't really hear Styx lyrics referenced at all, really. Like I know that there are people out there that talk about like obviously the most popular Styx songs of all times are all like ballads and saccharine love songs and things of that nature, other than maybe Come Sail Away, which is more about fantasy or whatever. But it was very much of the 70s lyrically. I mean like this song, Build and Destroy, the entire thing with the mission, parts of Crash of the Crown, like you guys are just I don't know. I think you get overlooked. I think Styx gets over. I think Styx is the most perpetually overlooked band there is in history. I mean, reference the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nonsense, and
Oh
don't even
yeah.
get me started on that. But like, even lyrically, like I don't ever hear people being like, like Build and Destroy. Like I haven't read the lyrics yet, but like I just hear the song and I watch the video and I hear you talking about it, and I'm like, well, that's a deep ass song. Like that's an incredibly deep song. So,
Thank
congrats
you
on
very,
that.
thank you very much for saying that. And if I can just I think you've made a good case for our oncoming victimhood, which everyone needs now in order to get ahead. We,
The
the
poor
world,
me, Styx is entering into the poor me phase of their career.
yeah, exactly. It's so effective,
I thought we already did that. It was called 1983 through 1989. But anyway,
You know what? I'm gonna say, I used to sometimes take a similar view because mainly because in the 70s particular I would listen to yes, a lot of the John's stream of consciousness lyrics that were to me I found great meaning in
agreed.
still and Genesis, with Peter Gabriel's approach to things.
Agreed.
Bernie Taupin with the Elton John lyrics I think are just
Yep.
tremendous. Uh, I can go on with the bands that I was so influenced by. And Styx, a little bit of what I think people overlooked is their vernacular was more plain speak. They didn't try to overly. because I do find depth in those songs, having gotten inside them and singing them. I think Grand Illusion is a very, very strong lyric.
Absolutely.
And overlooked possibly because it's quite simple and you can easily follow the narrative. I would say that Crystal Ball, whereas at the time I first heard it, I just thought, what a cool song. I like this. I like the way that they're using prog elements, and still
Yeah.
make somehow pop and rock. But Crystal Ball really does express what every young person it's what where their anxiety comes from is where am I going? Where is
Yeah.
this?
Well, to me, one of the biggest songs like that that get overlooked because of its nature is "Fooling Yourself." To me, is like it's
Entirely.
is one of those songs that like every young man should listen to. Like that's like,
Prime example. Prime example, as is Blue Collar Man.
yeah,
A
that too.
song about the nobility of the working. All work is noble. JY has once said that to me. I know it's a great expression. And that song approaches that, but again, with very plain speak. Give me a job, give me security.
Hmm.
Give me a chance to survive. I mean, that actually says an awful lot in two lines. And I think this is part of the longevity. I think you've hit on a great topic here. Part of the longevity of Styx is because of that. People of multi generations now, because we see them of all ages at our shows, and and all persuasions, and they see themselves quite easily in these narratives. That we've gotten a little more adventurous, I suppose, since in our the new things that we've done. That only speaks to our own personalities and what we contribute.
Sure.
I do like to look at things with a sense of nuance and duality, as we just discussed with AI.
Hmm.
That I like to project into like I think on the new album, one of my the proudest moments was when I sent back to Will as we were working on Forgive, the chorus lines where, I'll keep saying, I forgive you. Please forgive me too, till the day that it's true. Like
Right. Fake it till you
because
make it.
exactly
Yep.
it lip service until finally one day it might actually land.
Yep.
But it's one of the most difficult things I think for any human being to hurdle over is that sense of forgiving anyone or seeking your own forgiveness for slights you may have
No,
projected.
absolutely. And it's the as a man who's been through like lots of trials and tribulations, especially through my 30s, and
Yeah.
becoming the person that I am today, there was a lot of that, faking it till you make it, and
Yes.
accepting things that you didn't really either understand or agree with
Yes.
until you got to the point where you were like, okay, this is for the greater good, or this is for, my health or
Another
their
six
health.
song.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. The
Yeah.
Mission Stands is one of my favorite albums of the whole catalog, which is wild. That's a wild jump that that 7 year stretch is like prime
Yeah.
sticks. And then there's this
Oh,
long period of time where there's a bunch of random goodness, Edge of the Century and some
yeah.
Brave New World. And I didn't really care for Cyclorama as an album as a whole. But like, and that was like the last taste I had. And I thought that was going to be it. Like, I thought that was going to
No,
be it.
we
And then the
we
Mission came out and blew my doors off. Like, absolutely blew my doors off. And everything since then has been solid. So,
so happy to hear that. It's almost like, and I agree with you. The it's almost like the lens suddenly came into focus. I mean, the picture was there, and occasionally you could go, "Oh, there's some good stuff here." But I think suddenly we just kind of the lens came into a sharp focus where what we could attempt and how we could connect the the current lineup with the classic era
mhm,
was the hurdle that we really had to get over, and I think the mission accomplished that.
I
Chris,
fully agree.
I hate to say this, I got to get onto the next one in like 4 minutes.
Oh my
So
goodness. All right, so let's just hit some notes real quick here on the album. So,
I can talk to you for hours.
what was
Yeah.
the process? Okay, so to me the most interesting aspect here is Will Ivankovich and the
Yeah.
fact that he is now officially in this
Oh yeah.
band. So
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
was the thought process? I did a listen through and I posted the video of my first listen through of this album.
Okay.
And my thought process was, Styx fans, how do you feel about this new voice? Because we haven't had to deal with that for 20 years now.
Right,
So what was
right.
the thought process there? Did you guys take that into consideration? What are the fans going to think? How are they going to feel about this? Da, 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 da.
Somewhat. It's mostly how we feel about it first and foremost, And the first time I heard Will take a lead spot was in the middle of "It's Clear." There's a song on the album called "It's Clear," and it's again Tommy and I trading off vocal until Will kind of came in on the bridge, and I thought, there's an interesting voice. That's kind of a fourth voice. That's different from JY, Tommy, myself, and again, I would say, well, why not? I mean, he's written a lot of the lyrics on this record are written by Will, and his approach to the band as a producer and as a co-writer is part of the fabric now of what the band is. We've evolved to this to where he's not just a producer and co-writer, but he's a member of the band on stage, and he's been really adept at segregating each role that he's able to play. So yeah, I think the audience seemed to have embraced it absolutely fine.
Takes a
Um,
special someone, right? Do we see him doing any of his songs live, or like is that already
oh,
in the
quite
plan? Or
quite possibly there's one that uh, we lost the wheel again. I sing the bridge on that song, and he sings the rest of it, and,
there you go.
and I think that would be a great live song.
Cool. And then I guess the last question would be it's more of a suggestion. I think you guys should do Blue Eyed Raven and Boat on a River and somehow put them together.
I agree because Blue-Eyed Raven is definitely the continuation of Boat on the River,
Yep.
which on Crash of the Crown it was Sound the Alarm.
Mm.
I find those three are a little bookend of Tommy Shaw folk elements that
Yep.
that that he brought into the band, and I absolutely agree with you. Though Blue-Eyed Raven and Boat on the River, yeah, they would marry up beautifully.
So I know this is still, it just came out not that long, like 4 months ago or whatever. And obviously you guys are advanced in age. Let's say that's the nicest way to put it. Are there talks of another album already at all, or is it just taking it day by day at this point?
I think at any point in a band's existence, you're really, yeah, you're really fooling yourself, to quote a Styx lyric. If you think you can project ahead as to what's coming down the road, we plan to keep doing what we're doing. So coming up with new ideas, playing 100 shows a year, exciting audiences wherever we can, and basically being a band and doing all the things that a band does in order to stay, in our minds relevant anyway, and finding new people. We plan to do that as long as the gods of rock smile upon us. And
And then finally, is there a stated thing where like if let's say something happens to JY or Tommy or whatever, is that the stated end of the band, or have we not even approached that discussion at all?
we're I don't know if you've heard, but I'll quote Neil Peart. We're only immortal for a short time. There
Fair
you go.
enough.
I,
Fair
I
enough.
turn that up to you, Chris.
That's the best answer you can give. I didn't expect a really straight answer on that one either. So
I'll never get a straight answer out of
that's
this
right.
guy.
Well, I wish you guys the best, obviously, and please be healthy and safe on this tour and just continue to kill it, man. And I hope to see you guys when you come back around.
Chris, you do the same, and I look forward to our next chat.
Yeah, let's please do it again, man. All the best to you and give the guys my best.
No problem.
Take
Cheers.
care, man.